Now, with the latest figures showing that around a quarter of Australian kids are either overweight or obese, the Australian College of Nursing is recommending we try something from the past to tackle the issue.
In days gone by, the nation looked to Norm to help with our waistlines.
You shouldn't eat too much either, or you'll get fat, like Norm.
Who are you calling fat?
You.
Oh.
But today, with the World Health Organization warning that childhood obesity is expected to double by 2035, the Australian College of Nursing is spearheading action. It's recommending that every Aussie student has access to a qualified school nurse who will weigh them, keeping records of the results and use them for positive discussions about their weight and healthy living tactics. Some experts do not see an issue.
It's really important to have data about children, monitoring their height, weight, growth. We obviously use weights every day in clinical practice. It's part of noting how well a child is developing. Our nursing teams around the communities do a fabulous job, and we need to empower them to look after our children.
While others aren't so sure.
When children get weighed in a social context, that brings comparison. And we know comparison leads to eating disorders, it leads to body image problems that may follow these children into their adulthood. It does more harm than good.
A child above a healthy weight is up to 10 times more likely to become an adult above a healthy weight, which increases the future risk of cancers, cardiovascular diseases, musculoskeletal conditions, type 2 diabetes, dementia, asthma and chronic kidney disease. Helping kids grow up healthy in today's world is an admirable, weighty goal. So, is stepping on the scales in schools a step in the right direction?
I think it'd be very beneficial.
I'm surprised it doesn't already exist.
It's all about information.
Children need all the help they can get. Educating kids on how to keep themselves healthy and give them a little bit of ownership over their own health is important.
The children that we are seeing in practice and unfortunately in schools are unhealthy. The manner in which we discuss this gives them the right messaging and the right tools to make the right decisions and feel more comfortable in their own skin.
Body positivity advocate and 2023 Australian of the Year, Taryn Brumfitt, joins us now. Taryn, do you think weighing Australian kids at school is a good idea?
It is a terrible idea. All of the evidence tells us that weighing young people doesn't decrease their weight and it doesn't increase their health behaviours. We cannot allow this to happen in Australia. In 2014 in the US, in almost half of the states, there was a policy that was mandated to weigh children in school. 10 years on, they are de-implementing that particular policy because it hasn't worked. It does more harm than good to weigh our young people, physical and psychological. We cannot let this to happen in Australia. As a mother of 4, it makes me so upset to think that this is even possible. And what I'm going to ask all of the policymakers to consider is the research. So take feelings off the table. And I know Australians have big feelings about weight and weight loss, weight gain and obesity, but can we please for once not think about how we feel on a particular subject, but let the science and let the data and the research do the speaking for us?
We know, though, that the data points to a problem. So I guess to your point about maybe putting the feelings to the side and looking at the data, how do we deal with this when the data shows that it is an issue? We can't ignore that, can we?
So the issue here is not the weight itself, it is the weight stigma. It's how we have been brought up to believe that being in a larger body is bad. There have been so many health campaigns. You think about Special K, Pinch and Inch, Norm, Life Be In It, sitting on the couch in a larger body. For such a long time, we have been fed a message that feeling bad about our bodies is a way that we're going to make better choices. And it's just not. We know that when people feel empowered in their bodies and they feel self-compassionate, that they're more likely to look after their bodies. So I think we just get a little bit confused about weight and the outcomes that we want. Take weight and scales out of the equation and let's help our people to feel good in their bodies by moving their bodies and nourishing their bodies, respecting their bodies and appreciating their bodies.
So how do you think schools and parents and governments even can think about this in a way that addresses what you're talking about, right, which is there's this kind of unhealthy messaging and history of, I guess, kind of cultural shaming probably, but also then we know the, pretty significant health impacts that can flow on from obesity. What's the responsibility that society has to kids around that?
But this is actually how simple it is. We know that people who appreciate their bodies are more likely to do all the things that we want to do with their bodies, like move them and nourish them, and less likely to do all the other things that we don't want them to do. So I think it's about a fresh conversation. For a long time, for decades, we've had unhelpful health messages that has made us feel bad, inadequate, shame and blame. And I think we need to leave all of that at the door and think about health more about what can we do that's not just physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of the factors that make up health. How can we look at them more holistically, and how can we leave the shame and blame at the door?
So do you think schools have any kind of role in the weight maintenance of children?
No, I don't think it's a conversation that we should be having in schools. We know we've spoken to so many adults who were weighed when they were in primary school and the detrimental impact it's had on their body image and where that has led them to disordered eating and a whole raft of mental health issues associated with how they feel about their weight. I think we need to leave that at the door. I think it's a conversation that we need to have in our homes. And for parents who are watching, if you think, well, what can I do to help my children have a more positive body image? It's really quite simple. Role model the behaviour for them. Never say anything negative about your body or anyone else's body again. That's two very simple things that we can all start doing today.
Taryn Brumfitt, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.
I think that idea of role modelling behaviour is a really good one, but the problem is that sometimes kids don't have parents that are doing that, or that want to have a conversation, or who know how to broach it, or that feel that kind of stuff is terribly important. So the schools do have to step in a way, and I know that Taryn works with schools to kind of develop resources to help them have conversations, but it seems strange to me that they would think that weighing kids in school when all the kids know they're being weighed is a good idea. Like, weigh them at the GP.
Agreed. Yeah.
But, like, doing that collectively at school, people talk, that sense of comparison, like, it's never going to lead to anything good. And I think that modelling of behaviour kind of has to happen at school as well, because there are going to be kids where they're not going to be able to get that conversation at home. Like, we wish they would, but it's not always the case.
I'm with you. I think weigh kids at the doctor, your own personal family doctor, 100%, because you know what it's like to be 8, 9, 10?
Oh.
Things can land so badly if it's delivered the wrong way.
Of course.
I mean, I still carry scars of what a dance teacher told me when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And how that affected me for years. Why not do something a bit more practical, like putting the money into Healthy Breakfast Club or something like that at some schools where, where kids are struggling with their weight? Because that would, I think, have a bigger impact than saying to a kid, you're different. And they know.
Oh, I know, yeah.
They know it's different. And there's teasing. Why would you exacerbate that?
Yeah, seems like a bad idea.